Hello everyone, greetings, Mingalaba. How is everyone doing? Alo ne kaung jaya la. This is part of my beginning Burmese tutorial series for people who just want to learn to speak Burmese. Today's lesson is about the use of the Burmese particle le, which works like also to or as well as in English. First, let's take a look at how it's used in a famous poem called The Great Guest, Edeji. It goes like this. Sele leto ne le nyobi ngago piampo jabale. One more time. Sele leto ne le nyobi ngago piampo jabale. The cigar has shortened, the sun has set. Send me home, my friends. The poem is by this man, Tin Moe, considered the father of modern Burmese poetry. It's well known among the Burmese literati and even among those who don't usually like to read poetry because it's simple, short, haiku-like, yet open to many different interpretations. Let's take a look at the words he used for his poem. Selig is cigarette, cigar, or cheroot, any kind of rolled-up tobacco stick. That's what the compound Burmese word literally means. Se in this case stands for tobacco, and lek is a rolled up stick. So put it together, it's a rolled up stick of tobacco. Do is to be shot. In this case, it implies the cigar or the cigarette has been smoked and reached its butt end. Ne is the word for the sun. Nyo is to be brown, but in this case, it refers to the sunset hour when the usually bright white hot sun turns soft and reddish brown. Ngago is the objective case of the pronoun I, so we know that the poet wants something done to him. The sentence and particle be marks events that have started to happen, in this case, the sun turning brown and the cigar turning short. The particle is missing in the first line, so it should be treated as a shared particle that should be applied to both the first and the second line. You see, this poem is written in the classic four-syllable or lei longza Burmese poetry form, which may explain why the poet dropped the particle be in the first line to keep it within the four-syllable count. Piampo is the verb to send somebody home, to bring someone back to a previous place. Simple meaning, bring me home, but it can also mean bring me home to my maker or take me back to my spiritual origin now that my life has reached its last stage, like the cigarette that has been smoked to its butt end, like the twilight hour. There is no word for friends or you in the plural, so how do we know that the poet is talking to a group of people, possibly friends? That's because the use of nga suggests he is making a request to people who are close to him. Nga is a familiar version of the pronoun I. You don't use it when you're talking to a boss, a teacher, or somebody older. You use it especially among friends. The plural verb particle ja in jabale in the end of the poem tells us he's speaking to more than one person. When a verb is followed by ja, it means the action is to be taken by a group more than one person, not a single person. Put them all together, you get the picture of the poet perhaps hanging out with some friends and suddenly realizing it's getting late, so he says, Sele leto ne le nyobi ngago piampo jabale. The cigar has shortened, the sun has set. My friends, take me home. Let's take a closer look at the use of the particle le that appears in the first and the second line. The poet wrote, Sele leto ne le nyobi. The word le is the Burmese particle for also, to, or as well as. It can be used to call attention to things that have something in common. In this case, both the fact that the cigarette has burned to a short end and the sun has turned brown suggests it is getting late. More literally, the two lines might be translated as the cigarette has also shortened, the sun has also turned brown. How might you use this particle if you want to describe, say, the weather? How about describing two things happening in Yangon during monsoon season? The streets are flooded, the rain is heavy. First, you identify the topic of the sentence or the place where the event is happening. So you say Yangon Ma, Yangon Ma. That's how you say in Yangon or at Yangon. Then you say Mo tere, Mo tere. Mo is the word for rain. There is the operative verb, means to be falling heavily or to be heavy. So it means the rain is heavy when you say Mo tere. Then you also say Ye jire, Ye jire. Ye is the noun, water. Chi is to be excessive, to be big, to be large. In this case, it means it's flooding. So far, you've got Yangon ma mo tere, ye jire. In Yangon, the rain is heavy, the water is excessive. In a more natural language, it should be translated as in Yangon, it's raining heavily and the streets are flooded. Now you can do what the poet Tin Moe did by adding le to call attention to those two things happening for emphasis. So you can say Yangon ma mo le tere, ye le jire. One more time. Yangon ma mo le tere, ye le jire. It means in Yangon the rain is also heavy, the streets are also flooded. It's important to note that in English, when you use also or to, you don't usually use it in the first sentence, you only do it in the subsequent sentences. But in Burmese, however, you use it in both the first and the subsequent occurrences. You might ask, why are we ending our sentences with de, not with be, the way the poet did? Well, it's because we're not making observations about things that have just started to happen. We are making observations about general truths, things that are in progress. That is why it ends with the present tense like particle, de. Let's try another one. To drink tea, you would say, lapeye taute. Lapeye taute. This is where lapeye is the noun, tea. Taute is a simple verb to drink. To eat snack, you would say, Mong sare. Mong sare. Mong is the noun, snack. Sare is a simple verb, to eat. So to describe this picture, let's start with the subject, the young man. So it's he. In Burmese, you can use the unisex pronouns thu for he and she. So we start with thu, he or she. Then you say thu lapeye taute mong sare. Thu lapeye taute mong sare. It means he drank tea, he ate snacks. Now, if you want to add emphasis, also or to, with the particle le, you did what the poet did. You say, tu lapeye le taute mong le sare. Tu lapeye le taute mong le sare. He drank tea as well, he ate snacks as well. Now let's try describing a place that is spacious and clean. This happens to be a photo of Rangoon Tea House, a popular restaurant in Yangon. The word for clean is tha, tha. The word for broad, large, spacious for describing places is jie, jie. So you start the sentence with the topic of the sentence, Rangoon Tea House. Then you go on and say, Rangoon Tea House tande, jere. Rangoon Tea House tande, jere. It means Rangoon Tea House is clean, it's spacious. Now, how would you add the also or to particle le into these sentences? You might be thinking, this should be simple. I'm just going to say Rangoon Tea House tan le de, che le de. Well, if you do that, you'll be wrong. I'm sorry to say it's not as simple as that. You see, the Burmese particle le fits nicely into sentences where you have a noun and a verb, like the rain is pouring heavily, the water is flowing excessively. Mo tere, you can turn it into mo le tere. Ye chire, you can turn it into ye le chire. So if you don't have a noun, you actually have to recycle the verb to use the verb itself as a pretend noun. This is going to sound highly unnatural and counterintuitive for English speakers, but this is how you do it. Rangoon Tea House, tan le tane, che le chere. One more time. Rangoon Tea House, tan le tane, che le chere. This is how you say Rangoon Tea House is clean as well, it's spacious as well. Let's say you want to describe somebody as beautiful, also smart. The word to be smart is do. That can mean smart in the academic sense, to being bright, to being gifted in certain skills. The word to be beautiful is hla, hla. So again, you start with the unisex pronoun tu, and then you go on and say tu tore, tu hlare. That's how you say she is smart, she is beautiful. So how would you add the le particle, the also or the to particle, to call attention to the shared attributes of this young lady? You say tu tole tore, hla le hlare. This is how you recycle the verbs and make it a pretend noun. One more time, you say, Thu to le tore, hla le hlare. That means she is brilliant as well, she is gorgeous as well. Well, that's a lot to digest. One more time with Tin Moe's poem, The Great Guest. Let's just end it by saying, Sele leto ne le nyobi, gago piampo jabale. The cigarette is also turned short. The sun is also turned brown. My friends, take me home. I'm Kenneth Wong saying, see you later. Now ma dui me.